Yes. Welcome to Two Queens and Crystal Things, the podcast where we are on some manifest your life.
Yeah, it's time.
Whew. Shift your mind. It's past time.
It's
and
happening.
raise the consciousness type of shit. I am Mia.
And I'm Christie, and you can consider us your spiritual girlfriends for the next hour. So last week, if you all tuned in, you know that we talked about toxic positivity, and we actually got some good feedback on that.
Yeah.
This episode was really good, and it was something that I needed to hear. People,
Because I think, once you really talk about it, a lot of us are doing it, not even know. Even when we started talking about this, I'm like, oh my goodness.
I do it all the time.
I do this.
I mean, I've gotten, I'm conscious about it now,
Yeah.
but I do, I remember when I started. I all had to be positive. But you know that toxic, if you haven't listened to the episode, basically toxic positivity is the idea that no matter what's happened or what you've experienced, you are supposed to stay positive.
Right.
No matter what.
No matter what.
Light and love only. No bad vibes.
No bad vibes.
Right. And we called it, we called it in the episode, fake it till you make it.
The ultimate fake it till you.
Ultimate.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. But we do go into detail why you want to stop doing this. You want to stop dismissing your emotions. You want to stop feeling guilty for what you feel, or even shaming others when they express anything other than positivity. We're human.
We're human.
Express yourself.
And so I like that, of course, everything happens for a reason, that we did this episode right before this one, because as we were going through this one, I was thinking to myself, it connects. So today, you guys, we're going to dive into something that I know everybody can relate to. I know somebody has wondered, why me? Why does this keep happening to me? Okay, so we're going to clear it up, y'all. Life is not happening to you, boo. Oof. Don't be mad. We will keep going. Follow me. It's happening by you, or rather in response to you. It's happening for you. Or in response. You know what I mean? So it's not what's happening to you. So when we awaken, or raise your consciousness to right to the idea, and we start to understand how much control we have over our lives, that we are creators, we start to understand more that life is not happening to us. That we are consciously in every moment, even when we don't know that's what we're doing, we are creating our life. Even when we have released the strings, we are still creating our life. You know what I'm saying? So,
and this is a very interesting concept, because one of the things that I started to recognize is that when you change your inside, your outside, your external changes. But again, I've said this before, it all starts with you. Everything starts with you. You're looking for love, find love in yourself first. But
looking for love,
oh my gosh, that was hilarious. Looking for love. Oh my god. Okay. All right. So something that we're going to discuss, and this is part of what we're discussing. Control what you can control. Because oftentimes it's not what happens to us in our lives, but our response to the external.
Yeah.
And that's something that we talked about too. You can't control what happens outside of you, but what you can control
is how you respond to it. Honestly, I truly believe that that's the real big takeaway, because people you can't tell, I didn't tell, my job had cutbacks. That happened to me. I didn't do anything to make that happen. So how you gonna sit up here and tell me, oh, I did that? You know what I mean?
But maybe you said that you wanted to have more time to, paint or
explore your passions. Right. But here's the thing: it's your response to it. So if it's okay, I just got laid over, I didn't make my boyfriend cheat on me, so that I did that. So no, that's not what we're saying. We're saying that control what you can control. You cannot control anything outside of you, because that being is also a creator. So they make the decisions for them. So yes, our decisions do affect others, but the only thing that we can control is how we respond to it. So if you get fired or laid off from your job, you can respond and such why does it keep happening to me? Life sucks, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. Or you can be like, all right, this is an opportunity because I really was sick of this shit anyway. Or I was looking for something else. Or, you know what I mean? Like, it's an opportunity for you to explore more of yourself.
Okay, so then what about this side of the coin? So if we create our life and we wrote everything out that's happening for us.
Yes.
The people that are involved in our lives, the people that challenge us, the people that make us dig into the holes in the depths of our soul to keep from killing them. They teach us lessons that we need in order to move to the next level, essentially.
Yes.
So it's true that we can't control what other people do, but essentially we wrote everything that's happening
in our
life for a purpose.
Of course, and think about this. Oftentimes, if you really sat back and thought about kind of those biggest lessons in your life, oftentimes in each of our lives we have a lot of the same themes. So I can tell you for a fact that I have, it's a lot of like trauma, but the lesson that I chose to master in this lifetime was understanding how resilient I am and how strong that I am, and understand, like, it was definitely from my trauma and my lessons for this lifetime. Because when I think about those big traumas, every time, in order for me to get through it in order for me to get through it or past it, I had to, once it was happening, I had to like really rely on myself. So it's like, oh, you forgot who you were. Okay, come on, y'all. Let's remind her. And so, and I think that and then big picture, when I think about the work that I'm doing now and how it is that I'm helping the collective and guiding people, I'm bringing people back to themselves. Like, you know what I mean? And so we all learn a lot of lessons, but I'm telling you, time after time after time, both of my divorces, it was just like, no, oh, you forgot who you were, snatched back to you. But I chose to, I'm like, why does this keep, like, for real, that question, why does this keep happening?
Yeah, I realized, like, it's because I need to learn something from this. And what I find myself doing is like, okay, Chris, before you get upset, what's the purpose of this? Like, what's the lesson here for you? See,
and that, you know what? And I'm so glad you brought that up, because it's not. It's just the level of awareness that you are. You know what I mean? It's where your consciousness is. And so it's such a beautiful place, because we're not sitting here saying like, oh, nothing's going to happen once you get to. No. It's always lessons and blessings, and this is how we stretch ourselves. This is how we grow. It's, you know what I mean? If we're not stretching out those muscles, we don't know what we're capable of. So, but the problem, or I shouldn't say the problem, rather the issue is now is when you get to a point where something's happening, you can stop and ask yourself that question. So now it's like, why is this happening to me? It's like, okay, wait a minute, hold on. Okay, I see what's going on here. Okay, let's talk, y'all. You know what I mean? And so it allows you to. So it's not, you're not doing the toxic positivity. Like, everything's fine. It's going to be good.
No, there are gonna be some days that are just whack as hell.
For real.
Like, I just need a do-over. I'm about to go back to sleep and wake up to a new day because the day was shit.
No, seriously.
And that's okay.
And that's okay. But now, when we aren't at a certain level of understanding of who we are, and because it go on forever. But what I'm saying, once you reach that level where you're able to say, hold on, something's going on here. When something negative or bad or traumatic happens, we start to feel like this is my life, instead of understanding this is a moment. There's something so beautiful about being able to have these moments and be like, this shit is fucked up. Like, whoa.
Remember we talked about it? Like,
whoa, why is this happening? And then, but have the consciousness and be like, okay, but I know this is temporary. That's a beautiful place to be in, where you don't make yourself get stuck in that moment. Like, why is this happening to me? My life is terrible. I'm terrible. I'm not worthy. It's just like, oh, okay, yeah, this hurts. Like, I mean, like, it hurts. Like, yep, that's blood. I'm bleeding. But I know this is something else. So let's just keep, let's just put on your big girl panties.
I know. It's interesting because when I hear people say that, oh, this happened, the rest of my day is fucked up. I'm like, no, it's not. I said, do you realize this is just a moment? You don't have to accept it as that.
Yeah.
Because you were calling it out.
Yeah.
That's what your day is going to be.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think a lot of people realize that. It's like there is such power in your words. You really have to mind what you say.
Man, when I tell you I've had to reset my day 3, 4, 5 times a day, I'm like, what is going on? I walked into Chrissy like, I need a moment. Just give me I don't know what's going on, but it's a moment, and I refuse to make it the day or my life. So, and that brings up the point, yes, you can experience suffering and trauma and pain and still choose happiness.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
It's not, you can experience it, not gloss over it, not, you know what I mean? And we're not saying oh yeah, that sucks. Okay, happy thoughts, happy thoughts, happy thoughts, happy thoughts.
No, it's let's address okay, these thoughts that I'm feeling. I am pissed. Why am I pissed? Oh, you're pissed. Actually, not because of this particular incident. You're pissed because it triggered something else that you didn't deal with.
Yes.
Oh shit, I got some stuff to work on.
But actually, I shouldn't even say happy. I'll say happiness and joy, because you can choose joy all the time and still experience what you're going through. So I read somewhere that as little as 10% of the external world influences your happiness. So let's say it's 10%.
That's about right to me.
90% of what determines that you're going to be happy or not is what you choose.
Yeah.
What you choose to feel in this internal work. That's why, oh my goodness, I can't tell y'all how long it took me to understand and to stop saying things like, I want somebody to make me happy. Woo! Girl. And when you think about how much power we have over our own selves, and you think about I give that away freely, I just want somebody to make me happy. I can't tell you. It's all right, well.
And it's funny because I was just no, you need to find happiness whether I'm in your life or not. You have to find happiness.
Yes.
But
just think about how much responsibility it is. I don't want to be responsible for your happiness and mine. Hold on now. Wait a minute. But seriously, 10% is, it's everything starts inside. And I hate, I feel like we're so repetitive, but the themes in these universal laws are true. Everything happens inside. Think about it. If you took an egg and break it from the outside, you kill, the life ends. But that same egg, when it's broken from the inside going out, life begins. It all starts from the inside. But if I took an egg and said quack,
from the outside,
yes,
the bird dies.
Yes. Yeah. But when that bird breaks that same thing that I would break, there's life now. And so when I say, there's so many examples that we know and we see every day that just show it really is all internal. It really does start internal. So when someone says only 10% of your happiness comes, is based on external factors, and to be quite honest with you, I don't even know if I want to give y'all that much.
Right.
I might give you a hot 2. You might get that deuce. I don't know, but
so you said something that actually I think needs to be said again. You said that you can experience suffering and still choose happiness. Just because you're going through something does not mean that you can't find happiness. And I get it. You end up in a spiral. You just keep falling, and things get deeper, and it's kind of difficult to find that happiness, but you can. It is absolutely possible. Not to say that you can't have a moment like, fuck you, I can't stand you, whatever it may be, but you can still be happy.
And I honestly, I'll say this. I think it is easier to be the victim. It's easier to not choose happy. It's easier to say, why is this the victim mentality is so easy. That's why so many people choose it. Because if it was easier to choose yourself, if it was easier to choose joy, everybody would do it. But it takes an acknowledgement of self, and it takes some acknowledgement of your own thinking. And again, when you're in pain, and something has happened to you, you're just like, I didn't do this. This hurts. And then when we don't realize, we immediately start chipping away at our worthiness. But when you choose joy and accept your thinking, you are, when like literally when you are conscious enough to stop and say, what am I thinking? There's no freaking way you're gonna choose, I'm not worthy, that's why he cheated on me, I should have had. No, it's like your spirit and your soul are not going to let you do that, especially once you acknowledge that you know that we are eternal, that we are the creator. What are you talking about? So it's bam.
Thoughts create things. And so, I mean, honestly, like when you focus on happiness and feeling good, your vibration is higher. And I feel like even though you have like a bad day,
yes,
when you are vibrating high, it's just like, okay, this is just
like
do a lesson. All right, next time I know better.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
So I don't want to say choose the difficult path, but you know that saying, like, anything worth having is worth working for.
But don't you want to get to know yourself better? Like, I feel like this.
Remember what I said this morning at the gym?
What did you say?
We were talking about, like, ourselves, and we were talking about how we write our own stories. And I was just saying, you know, when I was writing, you know, my story, and I think it was either you or Maria who said, you know, somebody gave you a book of yourself. I'm like, that's awesome. That me is my favorite subject. And everybody should feel like that about themselves. That's not being snobbish or what is it, you know, conceited. No, because that is, conceit is a comparison. Like, you know what I mean?
I'm better than you.
Right. And or if somebody's being beneath you. I'm not worried about y'all.
Like your cat looks at you all, he's
right.
peasants.
Yes. Peasants.
Beneath me.
That's how my baby looks at me. But I am my favorite subject, and you should be your favorite subject, because this relationship with self is the most important relationship that you are ever going to have. It is literally the only relationship that you are going to have from the day you are matter of fact, the day you are embryo. As soon as the sperm goes into the egg, you are with you until the last breath comes out of your body. So that is the most important relationship. There will be plenty people who will pass through your timeline. Some will stay a little bit longer on your timeline, but there's nobody that's going to be there from the point of inception to the point of death but you. So you might as well go ahead and, like, look at your story. This is amazing. How could you not be your favorite topic? Are you kidding me?
That's why I actually really like meditating, because it allows me, one, to turn my attention inward. Because I think a lot of times we're too focused about things outside of ourselves. You know? If you're not minding your business, or if you're minding my business, who's minding yours?
Who is minding your business?
Right, but it gives me an opportunity to just focus inward and really, like, okay, how are you feeling? What's going on? Oh shit, I actually have this thought. Like, I felt like I was a failure, or I felt like someone didn't like me, or
I'm so glad you brought that up.
And then I got to the point, I'm like, you know what? Everyone is going through their own thing, so I can't take it personally. I mean, you know. And
I'm glad you brought up the meditation thing, because that, I think, is a good point to bring up. Like, I want to demystify meditation again, because I know we've probably said this before, but you guys, if you look at it like you're trying to connect to something outside of you, and this is having a conversation with yourself. And if you just start with going back and forth with you and you until you understand and tap into your higher self, and then, you know what I mean? So demystify that. It's not that difficult. Just sit down and some stillness, whatever, and have a conversation with you.
And I will be the first to say, like, because I grew up in a Christian household and my ex-husband was, you know, very religious, I thought meditation was of the devil, and I thought it allowed spirits to enter into you that can then control your thoughts.
Let me tell you why I love that so much, because like, when I hear shit like that, Chrissy, all it does is further confirm that there literally are people in the world who do not want you to know who the fuck you are.
There you go.
So if I make, and if I right, and because if I make you connecting with yourself, because they know what it is, they know the power in that. Yeah. But if I make that bad and devilish, then you won't do that. You will continue to look outside of yourself for the answers. And guess what? I got the answers for you. It's so for me, I'm just like, yep. See, I mean, and it's so that thought that that ideology is so ingrained in us so early, and we don't even know it. I mean, it's just so simple. Like it just comes out. Like if your parents say it, the pastor said it, or whoever said it, it comes from a trusted source. Where did they get it from? A trusted source. Girl, I'm like, I mean,
I was afraid of it.
Wow.
And then when I got to a point where I was like, okay, Christy, you done did everything. You see what your life looked like, and so
let's try something else.
It's time to change things up. You've changed for other people, so now it's time for you to get back to your roots and what you know that you've been called to do. Mm-hmm. And since then, I was like, okay, well, meditation has been a tremendous life changer. Mm-hmm. It has allowed me to see things from a different perspective, and honestly, I can lift myself above whatever issue I have, and I can see it from a different perspective, which is
perspective is everything. Yes, honestly, perspective truly is everything. But I think it's really laughable to me that the amount of resource and time and people and energy and programming goes into you not getting to know you. And I've said this before, you guys. Anytime all this money, time, energy, space, and everything, folklore, I mean, look, I'm like, whole ideologies built on you not knowing who you are. You got to know you walking around with a loaded AK. They just don't want you to know. They do not. And this type of, and I'm weaponizing our spirituality right now, but this type of weapon is something that they can't take from you. You don't need a permit for this. You are born with this. So how do I take that power away from you if you don't have to come to me to get it? I can't take that from you. So let me make you think that that's bad. Girl, bye. Well, I fell for the okie doke too for a long time.
I won't get into it, but it's the same thing where one race makes another race feel inferior.
Exactly. I was about to, girl, I'm just saying. And again, and when you really think about how they push that inferiority, the violent part of it is just how can I say this? The violence is more of just a little additional training, but where it really starts is breaking you away from who you are. It really starts psychologically with trying to disconnect you from your source, disconnect you from the I am energy that everybody has. So when you think about it, and I even say this with you would think there when slaves were free, right? There was you guys are free. Do you know how many of us chose to stay?
Well, I'm sure several, because it was they were comfortable.
And that's all I know. What? Well, who am I if I'm not? Because that
changing is going to be too hard. The thought of changing is
So of course you had those that's okay, I'm out of here. I've been out. What? But you know what I mean? And then we have those who they wanted to be able to assimilate to what they believed was better or higher than them. Mm-hmm. Nobody's beating you to do that. That is what you have been trained mentally. And you have disengaged and disassociated your spiritual side from yourself and handed it over. So of course I'm gonna do whatever you say, because I gave it to you. I mean, you tricked me, but
that's crazy. Well, we've talked about this before, but we talked about embracing the duality in life.
Yeah.
And I mean, there are some thoughts where they say duality doesn't exist, and I understand both. And I feel like on the human end, we need to understand male, female. We need to have.
I think we need labels on things, right, as these 3-dimensional beings. Yep. When we are connected to our higher selves, and dare I say, when I'm connected to my extraterrestrial self, right. I truly understand that thinking. There is no, but for us, because I'm a spiritual being in a human world. I totally understand. I totally understand that we need to. Things are tangible for us here. So when we talk about embracing that duality in our life, so we're thinking about, okay, things happening to you, just as we understand, there's night and day. There's two different things, right? Why can't we understand that, when we have these traumatic or negative experiences, that they are, that we can choose to stay in that energy as part of what emotion we choose, or we can choose to go to the day. Do you understand what I'm saying? So embrace the fact that there is a duality in our lives every day, and we accept this duality often. I mean, it's so ingrained in us, we don't even know that that's what we're doing. So if you already accept it, apply it to yourselves, and when you guys are experiencing these moments, it's like I can choose to stay here, or I can go to the polar opposite, because Earth is a place of polarity. So I can be here, or I can go there. Because you know how, and this is real talk, you know how when you have people who have exes who are who they really hate, I mean like hate, and then so I tell them, like, if you got that much energy to hate somebody, you must really love them.
True.
Because let me tell you something, when you are done, and you don't, I don't have, do you know how much energy it takes to hate somebody?
Oh, that's a lot of hate. I mean,
oh my goodness, time.
Somebody, you're giving them your power.
Because I'm holding on to this thing that
controlling my emotions.
Yes,
how are you controlling my emotions?
Hello.
You're making me feel some kind of way.
Right. Thank you. And they're over there just fine, and you over here holding on to something. But in order for, again, that polarity, in order for that much hate to exist, is because there's something still there. There's some love there. So we can detach ourselves from that. Like, I can still love you from afar. And I will work on, myself, and trying to understand what is it about me, not you, because you just who the hell you are. But what is it about me that loves this part about you? So let me go dig into my own self.
Let me sit down.
Well, hold on, girl. Like, for real. That's what you were doing.
I had to go through that. But now I honestly, and it's funny. So I ditched school. Had my boyfriend call me in sick. Rest in peace, Peyton. But had him call me in sick. He freaked out. He hung up. The school calls my father and says, "Oh, you were saying that your daughter was calling out sick?" So I ditched school, got a tattoo. It was the yin and yang. That was the first tattoo that I got because it made so much sense to me. I was like, okay, you have your light and your dark, but you can't have one without the other, without having it be this whole thing, this whole yin yang.
Yep.
And so that's how I look at it.
That's interesting. You know what my first tattoo was? An infinity symbol.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That is so funny.
Because when I think,
so funny.
Again, this is why your favorite subject to be yourself. I love thinking back about stuff like that. It pops up just like, boy, girl, something. It's like
it's
breadcrumbs. Like we just putting it like, here, let me just sprinkle.
Right.
And the way that we wrote our story, it's just, here's a little breadcrumb, so you get to, I think I love aha moments. That's why I did the stuff I did, like, ooh, I get it. Now that's why 1, and then when you put the 3 on there with that 7, 11, new beginning, let's do, I mean, like, real, I love that shit. It makes so much sense.
I did that yesterday. I was like, oh my gosh. Like, when I was meeting with a client, I was like, this is crazy.
Oh my, yeah.
I'm like, and the fact that like we created this life, we set it up, we set everything up. Okay, sorry.
I mean, no, but it's true. So let's think about failure, right?
What about that?
So there are times in our lives, like keeping it real, life does not go always as we planned. I'm air quoting planned. So there are times when our relationships, different cycles, business ventures, hell, jobs, interview, whatever it is, they don't go the way that you wanted. They either end or don't turn out, like we hoped, regardless of how much you worked on it, prayed on it, nurtured it, prepared for it, etc., etc. It doesn't happen. right? So when we release the attachment to what could have been, because you're like, I'm pissed. I worked hard on this. I can't believe I didn't get this. I was the best qualified. I was this. I can't believe I did everything right in my relationship. I listened. I was there. I was supportive and blah, 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 blah. And this happened. I mean, all of those things. I can't believe I didn't get that promotion. Like so many different things. And it can take us there. This is one because this is different from something necessarily happening to you. It's like because I had a part in trying to create something that didn't pan out the way that I hoped and worked for and what my intention was for it. This is a little bit different, but because you're like, I did everything I was supposed to do on my side, and then I released it to the world or to the externally, and 1 + 1 is supposed to equal 2. Y'all came back with 0.
Let me ask you: have you ever had a time in your life where you were devastated, but then when you look back at it now, you understand it?
Oh, what?
Right.
And that's gonna be our temple word tonight too.
What about on the other side? Like, has there ever been a time where it's just like I still don't understand? Like everything that's happened in my life, that was challenging, that was hard. I understand.
I see. There are probably still some moments I don't quite understand, but I'm okay with it because I know if it's meant for me to understand, especially if it's a big traumatic moment, it's coming. Yeah. Because I've had enough moments where I'm like, oh, I get it.
But you have the awareness to know and believe that you'll have an understanding of it.
But so instead of going through the spiral, like, hey, this sucks. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I did all this. I did everything.
Oh my gosh, now
release the attachment to what it could have been. I mean, and I would say, oh my goodness, when I tell you this was one of the hardest things for me in relationship, when ending relationships. I had to come to the realization what I was holding on to. Like, I have a problem. I stay way too long after I know I should have been going. And so when you start having these conversations with yourself, like, girl, what you like, you looking back over just kind of like the cycles, like this is a pattern. I was staying because I was attached to what I believed it could be. It's like, I mean, if he just like this could, you know what I mean? Like, and so I was attention. Yes, I was in a girl. I have been in relationships with potential, like but acting and responding as if it is actualized, but it's not. So then when I'm still holding on to, but it could be, but it's like, no, bitch, it is what it is. And so, but when we release ourselves from what it could have been or what it could be, then we allow ourselves to open up to new opportunities. And then when we get just to go a little bit further down the line, it's like perfect example. That didn't happen to me. I did that. I chose to see what I wanted to see. I chose to believe what it was in my heart, what I wanted this relationship to be. What I mean, so bad, I could feel it with every fiber of my being. If I just stay, if I just do this, if I do this, all these things, then when it doesn't work out, I can't be mad at that Negro. I chose to stay. So because I was staying on my idea, I was attached to what I believed and thought and wanted it to be instead of what it was. So so did that happen to me? To me?
Because there had to be.
Bam!
There was a lesson that you
bam, bing the bang, whoop!
I was calling them failed relationships, but every relationship or marriage that I had, I learned a very, very important lesson.
Oh my goodness! I mean, honestly, I've actually said this. I've actually said this to my ex-husband before. I was like, "You've been one of my greatest teachers. Not that that's what you were trying to do, but I just need you to understand. There's some baby. Oh my goodness! Because as humans, we're not made to do this alone. That's alone. Like in terms of experience this life by yourself. There is it's very relational, right? So, our most of the time, and I want everybody to think about this. Our biggest lessons come from relationships. And it doesn't necessarily even have to be romantic relationships.
Yeah,
our parental
absolutely.
relationships,
Yeah,
siblings,
yeah.
like most of the lessons comes from our engagement with others. That should let us know how important it is for us to be open with ourselves so that we can have better relationships. Because think about how else does it come across? You know what I mean? It's relationships.
So there was this video that I watched. It was, I think it was like in the early whenever they first started filming. But they did this study. I don't know. It was black and white and it was old. But they did this study, and this was horrible. They did a study on newborns. So they took some newborns and had someone coddle them, hold them, hug them, kiss them, nurture them and put them down. Those babies grew healthy. Those babies were okay. Then what they did, feed the baby, put them down, don't touch them, don't mess with them, don't pick them up, don't touch them.
Goodness. Oh.
Only take care of their needs. Change the diaper, feed them. Those babies died.
No way.
Yes way. So it shows you right there, like, our interaction, the touch, the power of touch is so important for us.
I miss touch.
But socializing with other people, having those interactions, even though I try to avoid them.
Wow.
We need that.
We do. We really do.
Need that interaction.
I mean, and again, the duality or the oneness is we also need our solitude. So we don't. Do you know what I'm saying? It's just.
I love it.
So it's like, how do you know what is when and when to do what? Listen to your freaking heart. Listen to yourself. Listen to your intuition, and everybody has this. And that's when you become aware of, hold on, I'm a whole sovereign and free being. What do I need? Not nobody. I am done with. You're not. No. Like. What do I need? Nobody can tell me. And it's not like nobody can tell me what I'm supposed to do. No. Nobody can tell me what's in my heart. Nobody can tell me what's best for me. And you know what I mean? And when I feel I no longer. How you feel a little tug in your heart. And let me tell y'all something. Y'all all know. We all know. When we're in the middle of, we're about to do something because everybody else is doing it. Somebody said, but we feel that little tug and we're just like, oh, I'm scared. Or you feel that tug. You freaking know. You know that it's not. And your spirit is like, excuse me, no. What? All right, fine. I guess it's lesson time.
So I had that recently. I don't remember what it was specifically. But I had a moment where I was starting to, like, Christy, you can't do this. Or Christy, you don't know what you're talking about. Or Christy, you don't know this, blah, blah, blah. And I realized that was just like the 3D. That was the human side just trying to creep in. Not just, anyway. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm trying to kick in. But I was starting to have those thoughts, and I had to, like, center myself and say, no, you're fine.
Yeah.
And once I did that, like, I felt this shift where it's just like, then whatever I was questioning just came natural. Like, it felt fine. It felt natural. That's happened more than once this week.
So you know what? I want to give you something to think about with that real quick. You know how we hold space for people? You know, and we'll hold sacred space for people and for energies. Sometimes this is a lesson I learned a few months ago about myself. I was holding space for energies that were not good for me, not healthy for me. Even holding space for those negative thoughts that were said to me. Or I'm holding space for, like, me, I'm unworthy. So even though I know that that's not a thing, there's a piece of me that was still holding space for it. Like, I put it away in a little box and like, okay, you go over there. But I created this. It's still there.
Right. You haven't dealt with it.
You know what I mean? No, I dealt with it. It's just I'm still holding space for it. And so when it creeps back in, because I'm like, why would this creep back in? I know better. We recently had this conversation. Like, I know better. Like, I literally just said this to you yesterday. I'm like, I know better. So even when I say something out loud to myself, I'm thinking, I'm like, girl, you already know better. So then you say, where'd that come from? You holding space for, you remember I used to tell us, turn off that tape recorder that we've been playing in ourselves about who we are. Turn it off. So I turned it off, but I had a little space for it. Like, I put it in the attic. Like, No, like it's done. It's obliterated. So when we hold space for that type of energy or those thoughts or those people, there'll be times when we're going through this cycle and our vibration is low enough where we can allow things to kind of seep in. It's we think it's gone, but it's like, why am I back here?
So explain it to me, because I don't understand. So when you say holding space, and I'm thinking like it was something that you've never dealt with, but you said that you did.
No.
Still...
So, okay, let's say, so past relationships with any of your ex-husbands. It's like I'm done. I've left the relationship clearly, but there are still things that will creep into the way you make when you're making a decision now. You're like, I'm not about to go through this again. So we'll make a decision. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like, okay, if you get cheated on, and say this person was always playing video games, right? So to say this person was always playing video games, so you might meet somebody, and you're over it. You are done. You're like, I'm beyond that. I know I deserve better. And you keep it moving. So then you meet somebody, and he plays a lot of video games. You immediately associate that with the ex who was a cheater who played video games, because we held some space for that instead of truly letting it go. Now we've created an attachment and association to something that's not even freaking real.
Well, you know what? I will admit, I guess I've done that, and I don't really care that I'm holding space, because my ex-husband was short, and I said I would never go I am never, ever going back to a short man.
I said I ain't never doing a Capricorn again. It should work. I'm a Cancer. It should work. I probably do have, but you know what I mean? Like, it's like we allow those things to kind of affect us. Now, you have a boyfriend, so this does not count. But if you meet a man who's, when I say ticks off everything, but he's just short, you gonna say no? Y'all, help! I need some help, y'all. Please, send help. I wish y'all could have seen this woman's face.
I can't even talk to you.
Are you serious?
I'll talk to you, but it won't be so. Okay, so for instance, at my job,
are you for real?
I am for real. So there is this resident, this doctor. We started talking. He was like, "Oh, I love your locks, and I want to grow my locks," and asking me questions. We exchanged numbers. He asked me out, and I'm like, "Okay, he's a doctor. He's an island person. Whatever." He's short. No, and at one point, like, we were having a conversation. He said, "You're looking at me like you wanted me," or something like.
Wait, hold on. Did he say you're looking at me like you wanted me? Like, you're like, no, boo.
So, because he also knows that I'm intuitive. He was like, "Yeah, so I really felt your vibrations through the phone. I can tell you must have like." Really
I hate when Negroes know that you're a spiritual person. They go Google some shit and say
said,
something like, "Boo boo."
I said, but I truly,
you're like,
truly was not. Please.
You're like, no, but for real, I was not.
I was like, I am sorry, but anyway, so yeah, short person, sorry.
That's interesting. Hold on, that's interesting.
If you even express an interest, okay. Thank you.
Wait, I saw this video today. They said, "What's your number?" And she said something. He's like, "No, what's your phone number?" She was like, "Oh, it's an 11, iPhone 11." Like, he just kept trying to get her phone number. And she just kept having to answer. Like, nope.
Your 7 digits.
You're right. I need them.
10.
Oh, that's
them stinky 7.
Y'all, it used to be 7. We really can't. You literally cannot pick up the phone and dial a number using 7 digits anymore.
Nope.
You can't, even on a landline.
Right. Nope.
I remember you would dial 7 digits. Nobody gave you that. OMG.
I remember. So now it's like, I remember when that change happened. I was like, that is so weird.
You gotta think about, our generation was here when the internet became a thing.
I remember that. And just waiting.
Smartphones.
Waiting for the
I'm
like, well, let me go. I'm gonna go make my lunch.
Oh, absolutely. You turn on that dial up and go shower and get ready. I remember being in college, going to the computer lab. Do they even have computer labs in
They
college?
do.
They do?
They do.
I'm actually surprised. Like going to the and literally having a sign-up sheet.
Or maybe they just put the computers in the library. Like maybe it's not like an official
lab, but having a sign-up sheet to get in and like literally doing it was not Microsoft Word.
I'm sorry. Remember card catalogs?
Absolutely, to do a decimal system.
Do you
Baby, I was the what?
Do you even know?
Do you even know? Oh my goodness. Is my daughter ever even gonna know what the Dewey Decimal System is? She's gonna be like, what archaic? Okay. Sorry guys, we got a little tangential. But back to the lesson at hand. So remember talking about lessons, right? And so sometimes our lessons come painfully, and sometimes they actually come in beautiful wrapping.
Yeah.
But sometimes they can be a little painful. Stay open to the possibility that the hurt happened for you. And so just how when I was just saying what I said to you, you're like, that happened for you. And so be open to that possibility. Even if it's literally just before you start to spiral, just be like, wait a minute, hold on. Not why is this happening to me, but why is this happening for me? There's something I'm supposed to get here. Even in that moment, that will give you just enough pause before you jump off the deep end.
And
like
that's
just,
what it allows you to do. It
yeah, just like you just pause. Like, hold on.
Give me a second.
Right.
Because sometimes we find, I'll speak for myself. Sometimes I get so caught up in the stuff that I'm not really taking a pause and just taking a break. And I just want to react, but it's like, no, step back, pause, take a moment, like, okay, why is this happening? What did I? Is there something that I did? Was it a misunderstanding? Anyway, but no, lessons are blessings, truly.
What would you say your takeaway is?
This is, I feel like I was asking her question.
No, seriously, when you think about,
it was just the hype. Honestly, the takeaway for me is just perception, and it takes time. Like it took you time to get to the mindset that you have now.
Right.
So it's going to take you time to shift it. So be kind with yourself, give yourself grace, but know that perception is everything. Because you can spill coffee on yourself and say, my entire day is ruined.
Perception is your reality.
Or you can spill coffee on yourself and be like, okay, that's an excuse to get me another dress.
Right, you'd be like, you know what, I would deal with that cuteness anyway. Let me go ahead and change it up on her.
What would you say your takeaway?
One thing I do want to mention before, I'm so glad you just made me remember this. Being conscious of the fact that you are a creator.
Yes.
And you have the ability to for real manifest whatever it is that you desire, right? I would say just the big takeaways, honestly, is not what happens to you that determines your success or what your station in life or what your life is. It's literally how you handle what happens to you. Because, again, control what you can control. And real talk. Okay. So, we have some temple work, you guys.
Yes, what is it?
Take out your, what do you call these things? Your journals. Okay. So, I want you to pull out your journals and split paper in half. On the left side, just think about 3 to 5 or however many you want moments or what you would consider failures, or where you feel like you may have been the victim in your life. And I want you to think about it from the perspective while you were experiencing it, because hindsight is 20/20.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do a little time traveling in your own life. We guess we can all do it. Go back to that moment and feel what you felt at those times and write those down, right? The stuff you consider like, why the hell did this happen to me? Okay? Then you go through the second column on the right hand side, and I want you to write out what you did. What happened next? I broke up with, my boyfriend. I got fired from my job in the middle of me trying to buy a house, whatever that is. And then think about what happened next. I'm so glad I didn't end up buying that house. Found out that,
It was on top of a sinkhole.
Can you imagine if you almost were in that building that happened in Miami? I cannot believe. I'm so terrified.
We'll talk about that afterwards.
Okay. Great. Yes. Okay. So, and right out on the other side, what happened next? What did you do? What I want you to do though is take out time, because when we think about something, it should have taken me. I shouldn't have taken so long to move past it, because time is there's always enough time, and time is just a way for us to measure. But it means absolutely nothing. You can be whatever age you feel that you are. But anyway, right. So you have time for everything that you want. Okay? You will make time for whatever it is that you want to achieve in this lifetime. Yep. But anyway, so I want you, and then the second column right out, what happened next? What did you do? What did you learn? How did you get past it? So you might be like, okay, what happened next? Should I cry for 6 months and then start working out? And it's like, oh, wait, nah, I'm finding a mug. You know what I mean? Or I ended up, because I was so bored, I didn't know what else to do. I started cycling. Now I met like all these amazing people, and I have this new community. There's always something that happens. And if you are in the middle of this happening, know that it's temporary, and there will be a blessing on the other side of this. And the reason I want you guys to do this week is because as we are being called to show ourselves, ascend ourselves, and step into the new cycle that we are in our lives, sometimes we need to be reminded how dope we are. And guess what? Sometimes you need to be hit over the head to be reminded how dope you are. So this one is an easy one for us. Like, let me just go back and remember, like, oh, suck it now. I did get past that. I'm okay, because I'm still here. And let me tell you something. If you are still here, you got past it. And you're here for a reason. And your spirit and soul said, okay, we got that. We that's part of our mission. The mission and the work pushes you towards your purpose, you guys. Know that nothing is for naught. Okay? Nothing is for naught. There's always something. And if it's pushing you, if that pain happens to be what pushes you towards your purpose, then that's what it is too. Okay? All right, so yes, that's the temple work, you guys. Let us know. And again, give yourself some kudos. I'm all for us finding every opportunity we can to remind ourselves of how dope we are, to remind ourselves how beautiful we are, how resilient we are. And sometimes we need to be the one to remind ourselves, hey, sometimes there is no audience to clap for you. You need to clap for your dang on self.
Well, and it's interesting, because if you post like, oh, woe is me, I'm horrible, I'm this, I'm that, people, this community of people.
They'll be like,
but the minute you say, I'm dope, I'm fly, they'll be like, oh, you can see it, you can I can't stand
and that's why you can't depend on anybody else to help you define who you are. Bing, bang, boot.
But you.
Because then you're blowing in the wind, depending on whoever's around you, whatever they say, to define you. How you no, absolutely not. So what's our crystal this week?
So our crystal this week, just going back to the temple work.
Yes.
Feel free to share, because there's someone that posted and tagged us.
Oh, she did. This young lady tagged us on our way. Hold on, while you do it, I'm gonna shout her out.
Yeah, she was. She tagged me. She said that she was doing the temple work, and we really appreciate that.
We love stuff like that, you guys. No, seriously, it literally does make our heart happy to know when we're putting these things out there and people are listening or being inspired by it, and they do the temple work or they go get their crystal. It makes us feel like, okay, keep going, we got this.
It's like, oh, okay, we're doing something.
Miss Chloe, that's her name.
Yes, Miss Chloe.
I'm not going to give her full IG, but Chloe, we talking about you, girl. Just think, and she posted it, so I guess she doesn't mind. Miss Chloe Moore, she posted her temple work on her IG page, and it was super dope. So we appreciate that. So yeah, share with us, how did you, applause for yourself? How you make a clap for yourself? Clap, 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 clap.
I was trying to clap.
Right, me too. I'm like,
we're really trying to make it clap. Can't clap while you're sitting on it. Anyway, we entertain ourselves. So, all right. So this week's featured crystal is snowflake obsidian. The element is earth, chakras, root, and third eye. So snowflake obsidian, it enables a person to make the best of a bad situation by clearing negative and self-defeating thoughts and inspiring one with new ideas that can improve one's condition, whatever it may be. Snowflake obsidian, it also grounds one's thinking, and helps to eliminate energy draining fantasy, and at the same time it increases one's psychic sensitivity, making one more able to notice the meaningful synchronicities. I did whatever.
You know what it was.
That can point the way to one's higher path. Also, this particular, we'll call it a stone, carries courage and persistence to those on the edge of hope. Snowflake obsidian assists one in perceiving sources of support that may have been overlooked or taken for granted, and it also helps you recognize the guidance and assistance that are always available through the natural world, which is, we're living in this natural world. So, and definitely use these crystals to assist you in your journey. But lastly, it helps one to overcome poor me attitude or feelings of victimization, which is what we talked about. It enables one to find strength and willingness to shift one reality for better. So again, life is happening for us. It's not happening to us.
It's perfect.
So have you worked with snowflake obsidian?
Actually, I haven't, but I have some.
I have some too.
You know what? Wait a minute. Wait. I haven't worked with it for myself. I felt like I use it as a grounding stone for something. Like I'm just now keep thinking I'm working on somebody, but I haven't meditated with it. I mean, I do like the energy on it, but I haven't worked with it.
Same.
So,
what's the message for the day?
So you guys, you know what? And this actually came up. I just talked about it a little bit. You know how we get to a point sometimes, especially when we're in the middle of our awakening. We have this moment where we look at our life or an aspect of our life, and we're like, what in the entire hell is this? I mean, and we're upset because we followed the rules. We did everything according to formula. We were told, if you do this, and this way, then I'm supposed to receive these ends.
Yep.
And what I'm looking at is not what was promised. I didn't get what was promised.
It didn't get what it's supposed to
have gave. Dang. So we have these moments oftentimes in our life, and especially in the awakening moment when we're becoming more aware of our spirituality and we're becoming more aware of who we are as a divine being on this earth. And so as we get exposed to that, we start getting pissed. Like, wait, no. I did everything that I was supposed to do, but Spirit today was just like, so what you need to question is, when you were following the rules and the formula, whose formula was that? Whose rules were that? You created a whole life based on, we all have done it in some aspect, if not our entire lives, created a whole life based on what we were told our life is supposed to be, or shouldn't be, or couldn't be. What? Exactly. So when we start having an awakening and you realize that, oh my goodness, I can't believe I did this. I created my whole life based on what my mama told me I'm supposed to be doing. And I hate it here. Yes. And we get really upset with ourselves, and that's one of those ways that we can spiral. And Spirit is like, we just said this to you, always remember that nothing happens for naught. It happened for a reason, and there's a blessing there. And I can say this, just even personally, everything that led me to this point, my life looks nothing like I thought it would have looked when I was, and I call him a former paper doll, because it's like, just you fold all the sheets of paper and you just cut them and create like a little paper doll. So we're all trying to do the same thing. You do this, and you'll get this. And when we get to the end of that, it doesn't look like that. We're like paper. So as a former paper doll myself, it took me a minute, but I realized that especially a lot of healers will feel this. Sometimes our healing process, our awakening process has to be a little more traumatic, so that we're able to help other people. So it's everything where you don't be upset with yourself for not knowing what you didn't know. When you know better, do better. But you didn't know better at that time, and now you're in this space, and you can't look back in hindsight and beat yourself up for it. You know, we're always talking about showing yourself grace and forgiveness. What you want to forgive yourself is not for what you were doing. Forgive yourself for beating up on yourself for thinking that's not, you know what I mean? That's all you knew. It's not like it was what it was, and there's so much there's so much. Oh my goodness.
I had to forgive myself for beating myself up and starving myself.
You know what I mean? It's like, but at that time when you were in it, you believed that you were doing the right thing for your career, for what, you know what I mean? And it's because someone told you these are the rules. Are you being a different size, does that make your skill set better? Are you a better dancer? Or, you know what I mean? At a smaller, you know, it's like you are who you are. But someone said, but these are the rules. Okay, well, shit. Why can't everybody be this size? Why everybody gonna be this size? But again, what else do we know? So we're in this time, you guys, and it's going to be a little traumatic for us as a collective, where the institutions, the ideologies, a lot of the things that we have trusted and believed in are starting to fail. Yep. They're being exposed. So we will see that, we will see that on the collective at the macro level, but it's also happening within us and in our lives. So when we're dealing with us, remember, you is your favorite subject. When you crack open that book and you start in the next chapter, you start off with forgiving yourself for shaming yourself. You start off with understanding that you are a spiritual being having a human experience, and sometimes it sucks down here. Man. Real talk. But you chose to be here. And so whenever, just remind yourself, spiritually, in your spiritual self, you chose to come here. And here's the best part, knowing full well what was going to happen. Yep. So you start to think to yourself, I do this all the time when I can feel myself trying to go off the Richter. I'm like, wait, you chose. I trust myself to know, like, baby, it don't end like this. I know you're dramatic, but I know that there's more to come. You set this up for a reason. So trust in yourself, and if it's hard for you to trust in this human experience and this human time, that's why you really want to connect more to the divinity in you, because the divinity in you is all knowing, all seeing, and is the creator in you. So connect with your highest self, but don't beat yourself up for doing what you believe to be best for you at that time. Okay? And it was for a reason. And even if you don't understand the reason, or haven't gotten the lesson yet, or understood what that blessing is, then know that it's coming. Okay? But seriously, know that it's coming. So don't beat yourself up, you guys. Spirit, and I have to say this again because I just literally put it in my head. I need to remind you guys, in those moments where it feels like you have nothing, no support system, I don't know what the heck is going on, know that you are never alone. And I think, to me, that's such a beautiful thing to take in and think about, because, like, what do I grasp onto when I'm in the dark night of the soul? When I'm there, what do I grab for? I don't know what to do with this, y'all. So, but I'm telling you, pause and call on your ancestors. Call on your higher self. When I tell you, you are never alone, you are never alone. Whatever manifestation of God's messengers you feel comfortable with, call on Jesus. Call on any of the archangels. Call on whatever it is that you need. Call on any manifestation of love from the source's light to be there with you. You are never alone. All right, I'm done.
I love that, from the source's light. That was a word. Okay, so before we close out, I want to do a quick shout out.
Shout it out.
Shout out. So my sister invited me out to this like jazz and brunch in Chicago, and so I met a woman. She was like, "Oh my gosh, I listened to your podcast, so I want to shout out Charnel." I think that's Charnel.
Charnel. I think that's what you told me her name was when you
Okay, Charnel. So shout out to Charnel. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Huge hug, virtual hug, high five, fist bump, elbow tap, whatever it is. But thank you.
It was kind of cool, wasn't it?
It was. I was just like, wow, someone's listening.
Someone's listening.
Like, even if it's just one person, but
it meant, man.
Because there are times where we'll text and we're like, oh my gosh, like someone actually took the
listening
time
to this. Yes. That was like, guys, we love the feedback. We love your thoughts. We're always open to suggestion. We're always open to what you may want to hear. So just thank you. So you guys, we're near the end. How do we do today?
We're at an hour and 5 minutes.
Okay,
hey,
sorry.
Hey.
So thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing with your community, with your tribe.
Yes.
I know that for a lot of us, we kind of peeking outside to see how it is out there in the spiritual world, in your spiritual world. So if this is an opportunity for you to privately explore yourself, thank you for allowing us to be a part of your journey.
Yep. I do not take this for granted.
Not at all. I'm like, just like you guys are a part of our journey.
Huge.
And so we have so much freaking gratitude, you guys. So before we go, please continue to let us know how you feel. If you have any questions for us, you can go ahead and send them to us at IG at 2 Queens Crystal Things.
And questions for the queens.
Yes.
It's been a minute since we got some.
Yes. People have really just been sending like what they've been going through, but they haven't asked a lot of questions lately. So we please, we like it. Send us, give us a review on whatever platform that you listen to us on. It's helpful. And so just like you guys found us, we want to make it so that whomever needs to hear from us, whoever wants to tune in to what this frequency that we're giving off, that they're able to find us. So it helps when you guys share and review. Okay.
Thank you.
All right,
we love you. Peace, love,
light and soul.
Hey.